Hi, I'm Keith McGuire. Mark's behind the camera, and today we're going to talk about complementary colors.
Hey Keith, tell me what a complementary color is.
All right, a complementary color is the color directly opposite on a color wheel. For example, green would be the complementary color of red. Why is this important? This is how we create shadowing for colors. A lot of times I watch people, they will take out their gray or their black to shadow a particular thing on a painting. Nothing looks uglier than a gray banana. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to just paint a couple circles, and I'm going to show you how a complementary color works. So I'm going to wet this thing. So I want to create a sphere, and I want it to have light and dark values. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet this one first. Now I'm going to paint it red. Yeah, that's the ticket. All right, so by wetting the paper first, it just makes the paint flow a lot easier. So this doesn't have to be perfect, but I like it to look good on camera. All right, so
Any of the materials Keith is using in the video will have descriptions and links to where you can purchase them so you can follow along with the exact same things Keith's using. All links are affiliate links, and we earn a small commission if you use them, and we greatly appreciate that. If you don't want to use them, that's fine. Go pick up your art supplies at your local art center.
The only thing I strongly recommend more than anything is that you use the right paper, and that is Arches 140 cold press, hot press. It's just a great working paper. Anyway, so I've applied the paint. Now, say I want to put a shadow at the bottom of this little ball. Oh, okay. I am going to put more paint. So as you can see, I've kind of created a little deeper value, but I want it really dark. That's you, right, Mark? But I want it really dark.
That's not dark enough.
Right.
What are you doing to get the lighter?
So what do? Do we grab the gray? Do we grab the black? No, we grab the green. What we're going to do is mix a little bit of green into red. Because as you can see, watch, I can't make it get any darker. That's it. That's as dark. That's the deepest part of that color I can do. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take the red paint and we're going to mix just a little bit of green. It doesn't take a lot, okay? Look at what happens. See how it kind of graded out? I'm going to add just a little more red back in again, but it has deepened the color of that red. So now when I come back onto the page again, you can see I've gotten a much deeper value. Now, the darker or the more equal the mix, I think the grayer it gets. So. And then it's just a matter of the amount of value you apply, how much paint you apply, okay? So, there we go. So you get the idea. All right. Yes.
What about the shadow underneath the ball?
Well, the shadow, it kind of depends, honestly, on the surface itself. If the surface is a blue color or wood color, you're going to want to use a complementary color of the color you used for the surface. So yeah, you're not going to use the green and red to create a shadow if the surface is blue. As you can see, I'm going to add maybe a little more green, or more green to the red, okay? Just a little bit more.
So I think you're trying to tell me is the shadow on an object would just be a darker value of that color, as well as the shadow on the surface would be a darker value of that surface, unless it's reflected, which is a whole nother
Exactly.
thing.
Exactly. So yeah, you might sometimes you get reflective color. As you can see, I used a lot more green in my red, and now I've gotten a fairly dark edge to this. And you know, don't forget, watercolors do dry lighter, but I think I've accomplished what I wanted to do, and that is a bit of a deeper shadow to this ball, giving it more depth. It just makes it a deeper, better, rounder, cuter ball. How's that?
Now you keep lightening that area, but you're not explaining how you're lightening the area.
Okay. Well, briefly, what I'm doing is the color has kind of saturated the paper, but what I can do before it dries, this is you use kind of a dry brush. That's why I'm tapping it on the paper towel. I don't want it dry, but you want, you know, most of the moisture out of your brush. And then you come over and you can lift some of the color out. And the reason I have to keep doing it is the color keeps wanting to flow back in. Eventually it'll dry up enough that you don't have to do it anymore. Okay, so a major part of watercolors is watching the paint dry, keeping an eye on what's going on. I will reinforce that throughout all my series. I cannot tell you how important it is to kind of stay with your painting. Keep an eye on it. So I'm going to do another complementary color. I'm going to do blue and orange. So I'm going to start with blue. I'm going to do the blue. So again, oh, I forgot. I'm going to wet the paper. Like I said, wetting the paper just makes it easier for the paint to flow. And the paint will only go where you put water. And that's how I get these great edges and everything, because, you know, I'm careful and I watch, you know, I watch what I'm doing. And all right, pretty close. All right.
Now, if I, maybe not on this one, but on the next one, if I wanted a harder, more reflective looking highlight, would you not put the initial water down to keep that hard line?
Correct. Even though I might still eventually end up with a little bit of color on there, yeah, I would actually leave a part out. I like this because it tends not to have a hard line then, a hard edge. But you're right. You can, you know, leave it alone. And then
maybe on the next one we'll try that just to show the demonstration.
Okay. But that's two things we're doing then.
Well, three, we did the lifting of the paint.
Well, that's what I'm talking. That's
mind blown.
Yeah, exactly.
Keith McGuire art teaching. You always get more than you bargained for.
Exactly. So here we go. I got the blue on here, and I got it wet, but it's all kind of one value, right? So I'm going to come in now, more paint to water, so a little bit heavier, a little more value. All right, so at a certain point, this is the darkest value for this blue. I can't add more paint on top to make it darker. Well, maybe a little bit, but at a certain point, you reach the point where the color, that's as dark as it gets. So how do I make it darker? Once again, complementary colors.
And blue's complementary is?
Orange. So one of the things you want to get, or, you know, keep one, you know, a file on your computer or whatever, is a color wheel. And they make many different kinds of color wheels because certain colors work better together in oils. Some work better together in watercolors and acrylics. So, you know, not all you know, not all greens and reds are going to make a, sometimes you just end up with a kind of ugly color, you know. So, you know, there are different color wheels that'll help you. But for the basic fundamental, you know, just a simple color wheel and your complementary colors and a little test patch, you know, test your colors, check it out, let them dry completely, see what they look like. So, okay, I've got my pretty much as dark as I can go along the edge here. I'm just kind of trying to smooth it out. Since it's wet, I can kind of blend, that kind of thing. And that's what you're seeing me do. So I'm now tapping the paint out of my brush, and I'm just gonna lift a little here, just blending a little bit more too. I'm gonna, there. So now I've got like a bigger surface. I'm just gonna come in and add just a hair more color along the bottom here. Okay, now I'm going to attempt to mix a couple color, the orange and the blue together to get a nice shadow value. So again, it's usually a little bit of the complementary color, not half, not, you know. So I just grab a little bit and mix it in. And I'll tell you, just a little dab will do you, at least with watercolors, okay? So I have now mixed a little bit of orange in with my ultramarine blue, which is what I was using. And as you can see, I've got a nice grayed out blue that makes it just a nice, much deeper value. And then it's just a matter of me playing with it until I get the, you know, the surface that I want. The blend, the gentle blends from light to dark. That'll work. All right. Now, you wanted a shinier object? Yes, sir. All right, so we're going to do something a little different. We're going to use yellow and violet. Violet is the complementary color of yellow. Most of the other colors, when you mix the complementary, it kind of gets a gray tone to it. The complementary color on yellow gets more of a brown is your, you know, complementary shadow color. So it's not a gray, but more like a brownish color, as you will see. And honestly, not all purples work. You know, you want to work more towards that, not purple, but red-violet. You want to be more in the red-violet range rather than a blue-violet, because it then just gets a lot muddier and kind of ugly. And guess what I forgot to do?
The highlight?
Yeah. I do see a spot, though, where, ooh, here's a couple highlights. Those will be my highlights now. But I'm going to go ahead and let's see if I can do this. So I left a definite dry spot. So that it actually stays white. Okay, I'm going to actually do a couple. This thing's reflecting really pretty. It's got 2 or 3 reflections going. Okay, so as you can see, well, maybe you can see, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I left some white spots to create some very reflective lighter areas. And now on this side, I'm going to apply as dark yellow as I can get. And you have to remember, Yellow is a very light color. This is more like New Gambage. It's a yellow, but it's got a little more kick to it, a little more oomph. So as you can see, that's about as dark as I'm going to get, though. Meanwhile, over here in the light area, I'm actually going to lift some of the light. I'm adding a little bit of water. I'm going to lift some of the yellow that's on this side so that it can be just a hair lighter around the bright spots. Okay? Okay. All right. All right. So, I am now ready for the complement. That would be violet. I'm going to mix a violet real quick because I think I can get a prettier violet. I'm going to use the ultramarine blue. And you'll find that's one of my, go-to colors in watercolors. It just plays well with others. And I'm going to mix a little bit of the alizarin crimson. And you notice I've got a little more reddish violet. I want it not too blue. I want it more on the red side. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now, I've got my yellow on the palette. I got my purple. I'm going to lift a little bit of the purple, mix it in, and it becomes more of a brown rather than a blue for the shadow. Just works better with yellows. You don't want to use gray on a yellow. It's ugly, So the brown creates a nice shadow. Pardon? This way? Sorry, guys. As I move off the page, you'll notice I'm doing incredibly good work where you can't see it. All right. So as you can see, my shadow is much more with yellows, and using the yellow is a much more brownish value. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to kind of let the paint do some of the work, let gravity do some of the work. And that's why we have a cameraman. All right. So I'm going to kind of stop right there. I'm going to actually just do just the violet. Not going to mix it with the yellow. I'm just going to add a little more so that I can get a little bit darker.
Mind blown.
Yeah. And there are certain violets that work wonderfully with yellows. There are certain paint companies that work wonderfully. And I will point those out in the future, but not today. All right. So, as you can see, I've got kind of a gray going. Got to let it dry. I'm hoping this gives you a pretty good idea what you can do.
Do not use black or gray to create your shadows.
Correct.
Use a complementary color to create a darker value of the object you want to have the shadow on.
It's so much of what you do. I mean, you have to have shadow. It's kind of what creates three-dimensionality. So, wow, I said that. Three-dimensionality. That's pretty good. All right, so I have definitely taught Mark complementary colors, and I hope you learned a little something today. And Mark?
Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Give it a thumbs up. Let us know if you have any questions in the comments below. Don't forget we have links to the products and the paper and the paints that Keith uses in the description of all our videos. Please use them to purchase. We get a small commission, and we appreciate that very much. So thanks for watching.
Take care. Bye.